This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by DirecTV. Coming up on Destructoid, a Grand Theft Auto 5 PC version might not be too far off, Nintendo picks a fight with the fighting game community, and Microsoft unveils their brand new next-gen Don Mattrick replacement. All that and more right now on Destructoid.
Welcome to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Tara.
We are not live.
We're not
as I'm
live.
sure you can see, our producer is still out in Russia.
Yeah, I don't know why they do this to us. They just leave us alone, and it's
I'm scared
upsetting.
and alone.
Yeah, so we have to come to you
Yes.
recorded,
Yes.
which is sad.
But we still have news. Probably the biggest news this week is EVO, the world's largest fighting game tournament. That starts today and goes until Sunday in Las Vegas. I wish I were in Las Vegas right now. So if you're not familiar with how it all works, players donate money to whichever game they want to be included in the tournament, and then the highest voted ones get picked, and all the money goes to breast cancer research, so it's a good thing. Super Smash Bros. Melee happened to be the highest voted game this year. It raised almost $100,000 of the total $225,000 donated, and as such, it was set to be one of the games that was headlining this year's tournament until a few days ago when Nintendo heard about it. Yeah. You've probably heard about the heat that they've been getting over their copyright laws ever since they tried to claim ownership of any Let's Play video on the internet that happens to stream one of their games. But this takes it just a little bit further, a tiny bit further. Not only did Nintendo forbid EVO from streaming their game at the tournament, they actually tried to shut it down entirely, like the whole event. That's what's being reported today. At least the Smash Brothers portion of the event. This comes straight from EVO's co-founder, so this isn't some seedy rumor. This is actually straight from the source. Nintendo has, of course, since reversed their position after the internet threw a massive and, might I add, well-justified temper tantrum. I mean, this is for charity, right? It's not like they're profiting from this.
This is Nintendo trying to stop the fighting game community from giving money to charity. You cannot do more of a metaphorical sticking your dick in a bee's nest.
No, you really couldn't. There's been a lot of that lately, I guess. So they've now begrudgingly agreed to having the game streamed and played at the event. So I guess good on you, Nintendo, for going back on.
I'm just amazed they found out about something that was happening on the internet.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
They must have heard about it by the water cooler.
Who knew they had internet access over
Somebody
there?
brought their kids to the office and they were like, yo, you know what I heard on Tumblr? They're like, hold on, slow down, what's Tumblr?
Seriously. While we're on the topic of Smash Brothers, actually a new character was just announced for Super Smash Bros. 4, and it's, wait for it, Captain Olimar and his harem of Pikmin. We've been given practically zero information on this aside from a few screenshots, which make it look like you will be able to fling Pikmin at your enemies to damage them. I don't know, video games, you guys.
Yeah,
that's how it all works, I guess.
It's a Friday.
It is a Friday,
There is some news, sort of. So one of the fun parts about a new console generation, or so they tell me, is the wealth of new intellectual properties that it brings with it. We get to see a smattering of new IPs at this year's E3, not quite as many as we would have wanted, but I imagine we are still in for quite a few surprises coming out of Comic-Con, PAX, the VGAs, and undoubtedly next year's E3, if nothing else. But in the meantime, we have some fun rumors and murmurs to speculate on. For starters, Ninja Theory, the folks behind Heavenly Sword, Enslaved, Journey to the West, and DMC, posted a video on their site that acts as a sort of retrospective / thank you note / portfolio of all their games they've made this last generation, as well as a thank you, to the people who supported them, and then just a thank you to the generation itself of the last console generation. I guess they were feeling nostalgic already or something. Yeah. Buried in this video are some images and animation tests of a mysterious blue-haired girl who doesn't seem to be from any of their existing games, and the fact that they are obviously, bidding farewell to a current console generation would seem to indicate that their next project would be next gen, though that's kind of an obvious no-brainer. Yeah. Meanwhile, Epic Games, who are apparently still hard at work on a new game that hasn't been announced, in spite of all their head guys like Cliffy B and Rod Ferguson leaving, they've recently, in an interview with Eurogamer studio co-founder Tim Sweeney, revealed that the new game is going to be. Wait for it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's going to be a AAA shooter.
Whoa! I wasn't ready for that.
The Epic Games, everybody, is making a AAA shooter.
Insane.
But of course, that's actually not all. The interview was more talking about how how Epic is trying to create games of different sizes, which I think is really interesting. From projects like Fortnite, which is being made by a 35-person team, to even smaller games developed over the course of a few months by 2 or 3 people. I think this is interesting just because the company is called Epic, and they are a AAA studio. Like they are by definition makers of large games. Epic games, literally. But it's cool that they're experimenting with some stuff that maybe isn't quite so epic. Maybe some smaller scale stuff, triple lowercase a games, if you will. I don't know. I think that's I'd be excited to see that because you see all the stuff that's coming out of indie programmers, and it's like 2-man teams making amazing games that are huge runaway hits, and it's just imagine if they had benefits at work.
Yeah, who knows? I wonder how many people it took to make Infinity Blade.
What do you know?
A smaller game.
Finally, it isn't a new IP or a next-gen title, but it's probably worth mentioning, and it looks like some job listings have appeared from Rockstar leads looking for talented graphics programmers to help bring our titles to the PC platform. Rockstar Leads, of course, is the studio behind the LA Noire PC version, as well as GTA Chinatown Wars and a bunch of other handheld versions of Rockstar games. So, probably, the biggest complaint from GTA fans right now is the lack of an announced PC version of GTA 5, which is actually really stupid since every other game in the series has gotten a PC release. However, not since GTA 2 has that PC version been released at the same time as the console version. If you just go back and look at the track record,
it took a while for Max Payne 3 to come out on PC. I do remember that.
Didn't that come out at launch, or was it?
Did it?
I think it might have.
Maybe I'm thinking of LA Noire, actually. Or all of their other games.
Yeah, the only one that, obviously, there was never a PC version of Red Dead Redemption, which everyone gets really mad about, but, for the time being, there's really no reason to assume that GTA 5 won't be coming to PC, and if I had to guess, I would be very surprised if we didn't at least have, an announcement of a PC version by this time next year, so.
Yeah, if they're outsourcing it, does it really affect them a whole lot anyway? I figured most of their PC titles were outsourced to other companies. So
it's it's their in-house dudes, and they're going to be working with them. So it's.
I'm sure they recoup the costs of that. Because I'm sure, I don't know, it seems like a lot of people play their games on PC. I don't know. I actually have no idea. I'm just talking out of my ass right now. I'm literally just saying words. Speaking of saying words, I've got a few more. It's been a couple weeks since Don Matrick left Microsoft for greener pastures. That is a subtle Farmville joke.
Zing!
Yes, and now we finally know who's going to replace him. It turns out it is not Phil Spencer, as some suggested might happen, but Julie Larson-Green, the corporate VP of Microsoft's Windows division currently, or I guess as of a few days ago. Now she's going to be heading up all hardware development for the Xbox and any related devices like Smart Glass and stuff like that, Surface Tablet, and she's going to oversee Microsoft Studios in all of their development. It's nice to see a woman up there, which was not present at the Microsoft press conference
did not have,
this year.
They had one woman from Bungie.
Yes.
And they were like, behold, a lady.
So this news actually came just a day after another article which reported that an Xbox Live price hike was imminent with the upcoming dashboard update. I angrily tweeted that, and then I'll explain it in a second. Apparently some users who were beta testing the new dashboard in certain regions noticed a discrepancy in the exchange rate from Microsoft points to real dollars, which is what's going to happen with the next update. And that happened to inflate the prices of games by a small percentage. Microsoft is now saying that that was an unintended error that they are currently in the process of fixing. And they clarified that all of their games will continue to stay the same price once they've been converted to real money. Thank God. I was actually really concerned about that for a second. I thought maybe this would be the way that they try to weasel prices up, and then people were like, oh no, it's just inflation, and it turns out it's just an error.
That'd be so. I love they're like, oh, it was a terrible error. We didn't think anyone would notice.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so here's one of those little tiny news bites that could very easily affect the entire video game industry as we know it. It looks like China is considering lifting its ban on video game consoles. If you're unfamiliar, this is really kind of one of those oddly hard to believe facts. Video game consoles have been banned in China for the last 13 years. And they've come a long way in the last 13 years, so that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
But now, according to the South China Morning Post, that might change, though there is a catch, and that's that Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, assuming they're going to manufacture consoles there, must do it in Shanghai. They must do it, domestically in China if they want to sell them there. And of course, the Culture Ministry and other government bodies will have a say over what content can be released to prevent, politically or violent, whatever, minded filth from going to the kids or whatever. But yeah, it's unclear if companies are expected to move their entire manufacturing operations to Shanghai or if it's just for the consoles that are being sold on Chinese soil. However, considering that there are 1.3 billion people living in China, I imagine that whatever company jumps on board first there could make quite a killing. Who knows? That could turn the Wii U sales around completely.
Absolutely.
It'd also be interesting to see what games would get a pass in China. I mean, the demo for Battlefield 4 shown at E3 literally revolved around how much of Shanghai could be destroyed in that game. So that would be a little bit awkward if they were trying to sell it there.
Boy, that could be interesting though. I know like MMOs are super popular in China because nobody has consoles, but now are we just going to see a huge growth in Microsoft and Sony games?
Like I said, could turn
Who
everything around.
knows? Who knows? Well, why don't we take a second to thank our sponsor, and then we've got more news to talk about when we get back.
Sounds good.
When it comes to home entertainment, DirecTV has it all. With packages starting at just $29.99 a month, they've got over 185 HD channels with access to over 10,000 of the hottest shows and movies on demand, all of which can be watched at home or on the go with a cell phone, laptop, or tablet. They've also got great sign-up deals going on right now that gets you HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, and Starz free for 3 months. There's even a free Genie upgrade that lets you connect up to 4 rooms and record 5 different shows at once with 3 times more HD recording than cable. It's like you're at home all the time, basically, but you don't have to be. Even better, as a Destructoid viewer, they are offering $10 off per month for the first 12 months of service on most packages. Visit directsattv.com/Destructoid to learn more. That is directsattv.com/Destructoid, which is a slightly confusing URL, so I want to make sure that you know it.
Go to
That's
it.
Yes, and
Go
it
do
helps
that.
support the show, of course, so it's a good thing. The show's full of good things, actually. Back to more good things. So Max talked about some teasers for some new games earlier in the show, but there was another one that popped up today for a Namco Bandai game that many are suspecting may be a new Ace Combat game.
That's what it looks like.
Yes, that is what it looks like.
Except those numbers are moving.
Yeah.
By the time this episode goes up, it's probably going to be a 2 there instead of a 7, but otherwise that's what it's going to look like, yeah.
So this teaser site can be found at newgame1.bngames.net, which is the least impressive URL I have ever seen. It contains almost nothing except, like he said, this picture as well as some blocks in there that look weird.
What do you think it's going to be based on this? If you had to guess what kind of a game it would be?
I would say a flight simulator for
sure.
sure.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, aside from that, but more specifically, what type of a flight simulator?
A futuristic-looking one with many blocks in it.
A sans serif one.
So why do we think this is Ace Combat? Well, another possibly related teaser site went up recently, also at Project Ace's -newtitle.bngames.net, which is another horribly lame URL. But it specifically mentions Project Aces in the title, if you notice, which is, of course, the internal team responsible for the Ace Combat franchise. So, combine that with the fact that Namco recently trademarked the name Ace Combat Infinity, and it's probably safe to assume this is that. I love how detective we get to be sometimes in this show.
The calls are coming from inside the house.
Yes, seriously. So since they're announcing it now, or next week, I guess, it's probably safe to assume this is going to be next gen. Would be.
Oh, was that days?
Yes.
I thought that was 7 hours, and I was like, man, that's a really lame countdown.
That is days, hours, minutes, and seconds. So,
okay, I'm dumb.
That's
but
how time works.
It's still not a very exciting countdown.
Yeah, so
yeah.
New Ace Combat. Are you excited? Are you?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Anyway, that's about all the time we have for today's show. I am sorry we couldn't be live today. When we're live, we get even weirder and we have questions from you guys, and we usually do shots beforehand. But we didn't get to do that because our producer's in Russia, hopefully bringing us back more vodka for our liquor coffers.
No shots of vodka.
Yeah, in the meantime, you should go follow us on Twitter. I'm Max Scoville. She's Tara Longest, and the show is Detoid Show. We love you very much. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week when hopefully there will be more fun things to talk about.
Take it easy, please.